So we can say it is a dedicated protection, and this is the shared backup or shared protection. And under dedicated protection, it can be of link protection type or path protection type. Similarly, shared protection can be of link protection type and path protection type. And the restoration can be link restoration or path restoration. So basically, the restoration time there is no dedicated and shared issue. So because in this case, so whenever there is a fiber cut, so first we have to see that what are the light paths that were using that particular fiber. And then in runtime, we have to find out an alternate path. Okay, so there can't be any dedicated or shared issue, because whenever there is a cut, we'll see that how many light paths are using that failed link, and then runtime we have to find out how we can set up those light paths. So there can't be any dedicated and shared issue. Okay, so then we are discussing about these protection schemes. So protection schemes can be of two types: dedicated protection and shared protection. So under dedicated protection, we know that there is 1+1 protection. Other one is the 1:1 protection. So then we had this protection. So then we have link protection. So you know that, so like this diagram, this is a network we have shown, and let's say there is an active light path. So sorry, there is a light path which is using this active path. There is a light path which is using this active path. So now in case of link protection, so for every, so it is using basically three fibers. Fiber between these two nodes, fiber between this second node and third node, and fiber between third node and fourth node. So individually for fiber basis, we have to set up one path. Okay, so that, so corresponding to these active path, if this fiber fails, then I'll be using this backup path. Okay, so basically whenever there is a fiber cut, I will see that which light paths are using that fiber, and then I will see that whether there is any alternate path to set up this light path. Okay, so this way we can find that if this fiber fails, the alternate path is this one. Okay, so this is my backup path. But this is a link protection because individually for each link basis there is an alternate path. So if for this fiber, then this is the path we'll be using. But since in the remaining section, I have to use the same path and same wavelength, so I have to find basically this. I have to use the same wavelength over this fiber and as well as this fiber. Okay, and actually this is a protection scheme. So protection scheme means that it is not done at the runtime. So at the beginning, whenever this light path request comes to set up a light path between this node and this node, and if we are using link protection, then for every link we have to find out an alternate path. So we have to reserve the same wavelength lambda1 in this segment, again for this segment, and again for this segment. And as we have considered only one fiber can fail at any point of time. So either this fiber fails or this fiber fails or this fiber fails. So if this fiber fails, I'll be using this path. If this fiber fails, I'll be using this path. And if this fiber fails, I'll be using this path. So it is done at the beginning. And if it is not, if this resource can't be available, is not available at the beginning, when this light path request comes, so then I have to say that no, link protection is not feasible in the present scenario. So then if I have to use link protection and if it is not available, then I have to block this connection request, this light path request. So that means I have to say that, okay, I can't accommodate it in the present scenario. Then I'll lose the revenue. So this is link protection. And in case of path protection, so this is the light path request. So corresponding to this light path request, I see, okay, this is my source node of the light path. This is the destination node of the light path. So since we are using path protection, so you have to find an alternate path on end-to-end basis. So this is my source end and destination end of the light path. So I have to use another path, backup path, where this this active path is this one and backup path is this one. So those two paths should be linked disjoint. So this is one path I obtained. Then I will use this active path, but these resource. So since you are altogether using a different path and you are not using any segment of the active path, so you are free to use any wavelength. So if this active light path is being used uses wavelength lambda1, so then backup path you can reserve another wavelength lambda2. Okay. So link protection, path protection is done. Then we are discussing the protection switching time. So protection switching time is the time taken from the instant a link fails to the instant the backup path of a connection traversing the failed link is enabled. Okay. So basically the idea is something like this, that basically the idea is, let's say this link fails, this fiber fails. So then I'll see that how many wavelengths or which wavelengths are using this fiber. So if the fiber cuts takes place, so all the wavelengths which are using this path will be disrupted. Traffic flow will be disrupted. So if I am using path protection, so first it will be detected by these two nodes which are adjacent to the failed link. Okay, so then if it is a so then they will use some strategy to activate the backup path. So for that it has to send a control signal, a control message. So control message, so it depends now whether we are using link protection or path protection. Let's say we are using path protection. So this control message should be sent over at the source node of the light path, because this was your light path. So it is failed over here. So first these two nodes will be detected. So these two nodes will send the control message to here and to here. So since we are discussing source initiated recovery process, so this source node now, if you are using let's say you are using path protection, so then it will send the control message to the destination node, and then it will get an acknowledgement. So although it is reserved, but still you have to say that okay, but the receiver may not be ready, because what we know that even if we are using 1+1 protection, the receiver was tuned to this light path, to this fiber. Okay, so you are not actually, maybe you are transmitting signal, but it was not being received. So you are the receiver was tuned to this light path. So now you want to use this fiber, this set of fibers. So then this receiver should reconfigure the optical cross connect. Now you know that the optical cross connect is a flexible switch. So you can reconfigure it, and now you can get signal from this fiber only. Okay. So this should be done, and then this information, okay, the backup path is ready. So this acknowledgement should come to the source. Now your backup path is ready. So now you can send your traffic. So whatever you are sending over here, so that was disrupted. Now you set up this backup path. Now your traffic flow can start through the backup route. That's the strategy. So what is your protection switching time? Protection switching time means that the instant a failure takes place, and the instant you can start your transmission through the backup path. Okay. So effectively the time you lose due to the fiber failure. So the time taken from the instant a link fails to the instant the backup path of a connection. Connection means the light path. The backup path of a light path traversing the failed link is enabled. So that is defined to be the protection switching time for the connection. Connection here means the light path, because if I will share with you the main paper. So there they have considered that whenever a connection request comes, you have to set up a light path. But actual case, we know that it may not be the case, because if if a connection request comes, and as we know that connection request has a source time as a source node, as a destination node, it has the bandwidth requirement, and then also the start time and end time. That means that difference is the holding time. So that means a connection can be there in a network for a definite time period only, and it has a specific bandwidth. So why unnecessarily, whenever a connection request comes, you have to set up a new light path? So you may see that there are already some existing light paths. You can accommodate that traffic request among the existing light paths. So it is not necessary that whenever a connection request comes, you have to set up a light path. But in that paper, it was an old paper, so there they considered that because their main focus on this protection switching time, they are trying to see that when a connection request fails, so how connection request means a light path request. So, whenever a connection request comes to the network, so it's basically a light path request. Okay. The protection switching time for a connection is the downtime that a connection experiences due to a link failure, and it is indicative of the potential data and revenue loss. Because if you are losing, you are not able to transmit your signal. So let's say you are losing for 5 seconds and your data rate is 1 Gbps. So 1 Gbps multiplied by 5 seconds. So that means that GB amount of data you lose, and correspondingly you will lose the revenue. So since you are sending data at high rate, so you have to, the protection switching time is very important. So it is your how much time your network is down. So that is called network downtime. So that is very important to estimate, and accordingly you will have to take some recovery method. We shall estimate the protection switching time for the different protection schemes. So different protection scheme we know. So basically we know there are 4 types of protection scheme, that your dedicated protection and then share protection, and under dedicated protection you have link protection, path protection, and under share protection you have link protection, path protection. So there are total 4 combinations. So 4 types of protection schemes. So that protection switching time, so that we have to estimate. So to calculate protection, to estimate protection switching time, we have to make some assumptions. So like the assumption is that a link failure is detected by the node adjacent to the link. That you already told, that if there is a fiber cut, basically the idea is, let's say I draw a network. So this is your physical topology, physical or fiber topology. Okay, so this is your optical cross connect, and above the optical cross connect you have electronic domain. So that I am not showing. Okay, so and these are your fibers, and as you know there are 2 fibers we are using, one to carry traffic in this direction, other one in the reverse direction. So now a link failure is detected by the nodes adjacent to the. So if something fails over here, so these 2 nodes first they will detect. Now the question will be how they can detect. So actually this detection process, so basically it is written, this detection process is difficult, and that actually in that paper they have not discussed. So basically the idea is like, so basically you see that let the nodes adjacent to the failed link detect the failure by monitoring the power level of signals on the link. So let's say you are sending your signal. So let's say there was an, so let's say this is a fiber. So this fiber, through this fiber, let's say there was an existing light path. So if this fiber cut takes place, this light path traffic can't flow. So there is a fiber cut. So this the optical signal that you are transmitting. So basically we know that in a fiber there is a core, and around the core there is your cladding. Okay. So actually after this topic I will discuss with you some of the material, because now we have I have not started from the devices at the beginning. Now we have uses some terms, the fibers, then optical amplifier, this, that. So now we will be, at least if I now tell, then you will see that where it is used, because our main focus is on the network. So this is your fiber. So first part is the core and the other portion is the cladding. So maybe you, those who have done optical communication course, you know. So when we are using single mode fiber, there are other categories of fiber like multi-mode fiber. So in general for communication purpose, we are using single mode fiber. This is being used. So what happens in a single mode fiber? Your this core diameter, this portion is called the core. So core. So this is your reference line. So we can compute the core radius. and we can compute the cladding radius. So this core radius is very small. It is all of the order of 8 to 10 micrometer. So it's very small, and this is something like roughly 50 micrometer, the cladding diameter. So basically the signal passes through this thing as a through total internal reflection. So basically the signal, you can write this way signal will flow. Okay, so signal will flow. So this is the cladding. So our objective is to, since it's the guided media, so you know that how this total internal reflection takes place. It follows Snell's law. So that n1 sine theta 1, n1 into sine theta 1 equal to n2 into sine theta 2. That relation, you know, that it signal goes. And so our objective is to confine your signal power within this core. But actually some power is also comes in the cladding portion. Okay, it's dissipates. So anyway, if you cut the fiber, so this core and cladding both will go. So now the signal power will not come. So if there is a cut over here, so let's say this is your another segment, so there will be some misalignment. The signal will dissipate. So signal, this should be confined within core, but it will not be within core. Okay, so what they tell that adjacent to the failed link, detect the failure by monitoring the power level of signal on the link. So if there is a cut here, so you are sending in a particular direction, so this receiver will not receive any power. So power level suddenly will be you will only get the noise power. So you can understand that there is you are not getting any signal, but you are sending your signal in this direction. So how the source node will detect if there is a failure over here? So that they have not discussed, but there are issues like if we know that there is one device, so it is not discussed in this paper. So like there is one device, optical time domain reflectometer, OTDR. So this is a machine which you can use to detect a fiber cut. So if we know that there is a fiber cut, so from if this is your device, so you can, so let's say you are in the source end and there is a fiber cut, so we'll send a signal. So let's say this portion is fiber and there is a cut over here. So we send a signal, this signal will come and signal will go, and whenever there is a cut, so in this portion there will be reflection. Because there is a fiber cut, the signal cannot go there. So the reflection will occur and the signal will come back to the source. So then looking at the signal level, then this through there is this is a sophisticated instrument. So this can detect that how far the detection this fiber cut has taken place. Actually, this device we use to find out where is a fiber cut. Because you can understand that there are two nodes which are, let's say, 5 kilometers apart. So now there is a fiber cut. Where exactly it has taken place? So we can use OTDR, and then depending on the resolution of the device, we can say that there is a fiber cut, because the entire fiber is underground. So you cannot dig at any place. So, using similar some strategy, so it will be automatic. The receiver end it will be automatically detected because the signal power will suddenly will fall, but transmitter will not know automatically. So what they will be doing that they use this strategy, and then whenever there is no signal flow, there will be reflection. So there will be through some device. So that device you have to connect, so it will be detected. Or alternatively, I don't know what exactly this paper they are trying to say, but sometimes it happens that although this is your data plane, there is another control plane. So control, of course, they are using control plane here. So control plane means that the data plane is this thing. So that means that through which you can send data at a very high rate. And there is one control plane. Control plane means it is used to send control message. So like you will see here also they have used it. So control message, you can say that when some network also, actually long distance communication it is used. So if there are the nodes are there, so maybe one light path. So one light path, all nodes are connected to only to send the control messages. Okay. So basically it's a point-to-point connection. So if there is a fiber cut, so in the reverse the control channel, it will not get any signal. So then it will detect. And if control channel is not there, then OTDR, this type of device can be used. But you you can use it as a some part of it. So basically, when the reverse signal coming, then you can tap and then you can connect to OTDR and then see that okay, signal power is so whether there is a fiber cuts in some place. They have not discussed in detail, but they consider that these two nodes have automatically detected if there is a cut. So when a link fails, all nodes participate in a distributed protocol outlined below. So basically their focus is on the distributed protocol to perform protection switching. Control network is reliable. So as we have discussing, so there is a control network, but they actually not discussed how how the control network is placed. So it is, but it appears that your control network, as we have mentioned, that that all nodes are connected to fiber. So basically, all nodes are connected to control channel. So there is a control channel. There is another control channel. There is a control channel. There is control channel like this, the point-to-point connection. So that strategy they have used. Okay, so this is just for a control to send the control signal. You use some channel, but this channel can have a low data rate because your it is expected that the control packets are of very small size and compared to your data streams. Okay.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
So, is there have any dedicated wavelength for transmitting of this control information?
There is a dedicated wavelength they use, the dedicated light path. So it is just used to send the control messages.
So data messages are transmitted through one wavelength and control messages are transmitted to different wavelength.
Wavelength, and it is fixed. Let's say some wavelength lambda 0 is used throughout the network to send your control packets.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Or sometimes, so what they can do, so because if you want to maintain a laser and a let's say your photodetector for maintaining the control channel, it is expensive. So what they can do, so let's say they set up this thing that there is a control channel, but they do not dedicated the entire wavelength for this purpose. So let's say that now on this over this wavelength they can use some time slot. Okay, so this time slot they will be, let's say first time slot they can use the control channel. Okay, they may not use the complete wavelength because it's a wavelength channel, so it can send, you can send data at very high rate. So now they, through time division multiplexing, so they use a particular wavelength lambda 0, but over this lambda 0, one particular time slot they are using to send the control packets. Okay, because this will be very expensive one. So if you say that lambda 0 wavelength is used for your control to send the control channels, control packets.
So, sir, this control information is presented in the framing structure, right?
Framing structure, yes.
Okay.
Okay. So from time to time, so let's say there is a one frame will be sent. So let's say this is your source, this is your destination. So from time to time, this is your time axis. They will be using this lambda 0 channel, but in this lambda 0 channel, so let's say from some time, so there is a fixed gap. So one message will be transmitted. This is a hello message. So hello message basically says that the channel is active, and then some information will be transmitted. So it will go to the receiver. Receiver knows that these messages are basically the control messages. So accordingly, it will treat it. Okay. So they have not specifically mentioned what they are meaning, but this way it is implemented in the current network. So they consider that control network is fully distributed, that is all nodes are connected through control channel. So every node is connected to the adjacent node. So if you want to send a control packet from here to here, then you have to send over here and then it will send to here. So it is not that there is a dedicated, there is another fiber is there available. So there is no available fiber. Control network is reliable. So reliable means what do you consider that in the control channel there is no what do you say? There is no packet drop. Okay, so control channel we are considering that control channel is there. So if between these two nodes, so you can the control channel is always flawless. But if a failure occurs, the control channel is not there. Okay, you cannot send packet from here to here if the failure occurs, because you see this type of strategy maybe through dedicated wavelength or maybe one time slot on dedicated time slot in a given wavelength you are using to send the control message. So if this fiber cut takes place, you cannot directly send your control message from this node to the adjacent node. Okay. Now do we come to, so with this assumption, so there is a control channel and you see that control network is in-band. So there is two things, one is in-band, other one is out-band. So as we are mentioning that the definition that they give, that is utilizes the same physical infrastructure as the fiber network. But they do not mention that whether it uses a one dedicated wavelength or maybe in a dedicated wavelength and over the wavelength some dedicated time slot to send the control messages. Okay. Now now we have to find out the PST, protection switching time. So for that we take some parameters. So D parameter D, basically it is the message processing time at a node. Okay, so in a node, how much time it takes to process a message. So your message is a control message. So like failure has taken place. So this is a control packet is set. So how much time it takes to process that message. The queuing delays of control message at a node are assumed to be included in the message processing time. So message processing time, what is there? So it is, let's say you get a control packet, then you have to see that first you have to identify that, okay, this is start bit of the packet of the message and this is the end bit of the message. Then you have to see that what is the structure of the message. And then you understand actually it's not a data packet, it's a control packet. So those things you have to do. Then you have to understand what it says. So this is the message processing time. So message processing time this processing time is D, but it also includes the queuing delay, because it is expected that, let's say, so let's say if I am here, so let's say this is your node and this is your input link. So one packet has come, but already one packet is being processed inside. So this packet has to wait. And let's say there are some more packets. So it's a control message. It will come whenever there is a cut. So suddenly message comes. Maybe there is more packet comes that time. So it is not, you can't predict at the beginning. So when the packets will come, it's a stochastic in nature. So it's a random process. The queuing delays also will occur, and that is included in the processing time. This time D. And so for the timing, what we consider that D is a fixed value, because we are trying to estimate this thing. So we consider D to be fixed. P is the propagation delay on each link. So this is one node. This is one node, and let's say this is another node. So what is the propagation delay? So this is your distance. So distance divided by, so this is your distance divided by your velocity of light in this fiber. So that is your propagation delay. So here also they consider the distance to be fixed. So propagation delay is fixed. So propagation delay for different fibers. Okay. All fibers we consider to be of same length, because otherwise will not come a fixed relation. Okay. Finite relation. Then C is the time to configure, test, and set up a cross connect. So as we know that cross connect is you can reconfigure it. So for reconfiguration, you have to give some time. So that time is C. So you have to reconfigure, then test and set up. Basically, there is some testing is needed to see that, okay, signal is indeed coming. So it's a local test. So from the one end to the other end, the signal is coming. So testing is there. And now you can say the cross connect is set up. And then there is a transmission time. So transmission time for control messages can be neglected in comparison to the link propagation delay. This has to be there, since we expect the transmission time for a control message to be few microsecond and the link propagation delay is a few hundred microsecond for a typical length whose length is close to 100 km. So let's say your link, this fiber link is 100 km. So if it is 100, so let's say D is your 100 km. And we know that C, it's not C, this is your V. C is equal to 3 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second, and V is equal to C by refractive index. So it will come 2 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second. So now if you compute your propagation delay D by V, so if you make this thing, so it will come, so for 1 kilometer you will get 5 microsecond. For 100 kilometer you will get here 500 microsecond. You can check it. So 500 microsecond. So link propagation delay is a few hundred microsecond for a typical link length whose length is close to 100 km. Okay, and what is your transmission delay? So transmission delay, if we can have to find out transmission time, transmission delay. So transmission delay means that you have a this is your link, this is your node, and this is your link. So you have to upload one packet. So how much time it takes to upload the packet on the link? So now, which one is the processor? Your processor is the link, your link, what is it? Link speed. So that is basically link is the processor. So here you are trying to insert the packet. Okay. So now your processing speed is basically your link speed. So link speed is your, let's say we are talking of a very small link speed. It is only 1 Gbps. It's very small. Let's say it is 10 Gbps. It's very small. So 10 Gbps now a good value, 10 Gbps. And what is your packet length? So packet length, your this control message length. So control message length, let's say some value, let's say 1000 bytes. Sorry. So this should be reverse. No, actually, this hour doesn't go. So there is some issue there. So what is your transmission time? Your transmission time will be your let's say this is your 1000 bytes. So 1000 byte divided by your speed. Speed is your 10 Gbps. So you can compute this value. So it is basically 8000 byte bits divided by 10 Gbps. 10 into 10 to the power 9. So that means 10 to the power 10. So you can find out this is your 0.8, 10 to the power 10. So 0.8 and then your 9, 6. So 0.8 microsecond. Okay. So you can see that since we expect the transmission time control message to be a few microsecond, because this is old paper, so for they might have considered 1 Gbps. So if you consider 1 Gbps, this is coming 8 microsecond. So so that's why your transmission delay is much lower compared to your propagation delay. So for a long distance communication, your propagation delay is very important, because for long distance transmission delay is more and also your speed is large. So speed is large means transmission time is low, and distance is large, so that means your propagation delay is more. Okay, so that this transmission delay you can neglect compared to propagation delay. Now F is the time to detect a failure. These estimates include one link propagation time, because when there is a fiber cut, so like here there is a fiber cut, so cut can take place over here just before this end node of the link. So then this signal has to flow this direction. Okay, and there will be some processing to identify, okay, there is a to understand, okay, link failure has taken place. So this delay, this is your F value, that your link fail, the time to detect a link failure is more than, at least it should be more than the propagation delay for one fiber. That is this F should be more than your P value. This estimate includes one link propagation time. One link propagation time is P value. So N is the number of hops from the node at the source end of the fed link to the source end of the destination. From the source, from the node at the source end of the fed link to the source node of the connection. So you have to, it is detected over here. So let's say you have to send your control message to the source node of the light path. The source node of the light path is here, and the start node of the failed link is here. So we are using here start node of the failed link. This is the end node of the failed link, and this is the source node of the connection and destination node of the connection. Okay, so this type of terminology we use. So now it has to be sent. So number of hops, this is your N. So number of hops from the node at the source end. Achha, they are talking source end. Source end of the fed link to the source end of the connection. Okay. Source end and destination node to the connection. They are using source end of the fed link to the source node of the connection. They have to send the control message. So number of hops, this is your N, and M is the number of hops in the backup route from the source node to the destination node. Now what source node? Because you know that source node to the destination node. So this definition of source node and destination node will change corresponding to your path protection and your link protection. So we'll discuss, we'll see how it is taking place. Take the practical example. So I will tell what is written. I have copy pasted from that paper. So dedicated path protection. So there are 4 type of protection scheme. So one is the dedicated path protection. So so let's say this was the nodes are connected like this. So these 4 nodes are connected through fiber. So now this is your, can you read this document? Read this figure.
Yes, sir.
This is your link source. Okay, just I'm reading it. You make a note. So this is your link source. Okay, so link source. This is your link destination. So there is a cut here. This is your connection source, and this is your connection destination. Okay, so this is terminology we use. So now there is a cut over here. So there is a fiber cut. This information should come over here and over here, and they will be detected here. They will be detected here. So end nodes of failed link send, there is a link fail message. So name of the message is link fail message. I will write down. This is important. So that's why I'm writing. So link fail message. So the end nodes of the failed link will send link fail message to connection source and connection destination, because it is a path protection. So you know that for path protection, if there is a cut, so for your, so basically what you see that there was an existing light path like this. So there is a cut. So this light path will go down. So now since it is a path protection, so corresponding to this entire path, we have to set up the light path through the backup path. So this link fail information should be sent to the source node of the connection. Connection means the light path. So connection source and connection destination, you are sending that link fail message. So now it is the link fail message they receive. So the source node as well as the destination node. Now this recovery process is initiated by the source node. Okay. So this is a connection source node. So the connection source sends setup message. So it will send another message. This message is called the setup message. So earlier time it was link fail message. Now it is setup message. They will send the setup message along the backup route to connection destination. So connection destination is this one. So it will send the setup message to the connection destination. Okay, it will reach there. So now you see we are using path protection. Then we understand that corresponding to the entire active path, you have to set up a backup path. You have to use the backup path. Backup path is actually, it is there reserved at the beginning, just you are using it. So link fail message is there, then you are sending setup message. And okay, so it will go over here. And now you see that. So basically, since it is it's a dedicated protection, so that intermediate nodes. So these two are the intermediate nodes. So there the your what you say that optical cross connects are actually reconfigured, already configured in that way, because you know that corresponding to this active path, this should be my backup path. So you have, when you set up these this light path, so you configured this optical cross connect this way. So here there is a node, there is another node over here. These are these two nodes over there. So there this optical cross connect is configured. So like let's say these are the two ports. So it is configured, and also here it is configured. You know that your signal has to move this way. So this configuration has been done. So that's why you see that in case of your shared protection, we have to include this configuration cost. So now we are not including. We'll see. And then, so after this setup message goes to the destination node of the connection, so then it will send a control message in the reverse direction. Okay, so this is your confirm message. So this destination will send the connection destination or light path destination will send a confirm message. So it will go to the connection destination, will send confirm message along backup route to the connection source node, because this route is not there. So there is a cut, so you cannot use this route. So all your traffic transmission, including the control traffic, control messages, so it should use the backup route. So the confirm message goes to the connection source node. So now the connection source node knows that, okay, my the backup path is ready because I got a confirmation message. Now he will reroute all its traffic to this through this backup route. So now it becomes the active route basically. Okay. And now your communication will take place along this path. Now by this time you will inform some person, you will send them, so they will go and rectify this thing. You will understand that where exactly the failure has taken place using that OTDR machine, and then you will go and then splice the fiber. And after it is ready, maybe you can send your traffic from the backup route to the active route. It depends on the network operator. So dedicated. So this is the dedicated part for protection switching time. So it is now complete. So for protection switching time, and so how we can compute the protection switching time? So what are the time you require? So first you see that after a failure has taken place, first you have to detect it. So who will detect? This node will detect, and this node will detect. So this detection time, as we consider it, is f. Okay. So this value is f. Then it's a dedicated path protection. So then the control message should be sent to the source node of the connection, and the number of hops is n. Okay, so after it is detected, so from this node to the source node of the connection, or that is the connection source node, this distance is n hops. So like here in this picture it is 1 hop, but let's say there is another intermediate node. So this distance. Hop is important because in the hop there can be the processing delay, queuing delay including the processing delay including the queuing delay. So that you have to consider, and anyway propagation delay will be considering. So the number of hops is important. So so how many hops are there? That value is n. So n hops are there. Now there will be processing over here. There will be processing in the intermediate nodes, and there will be processing at the connection source node. So if your number of hops is n, so the processing will be n plus 1 times. So processing delay to send the message from here to here will be n plus 1 into d. Okay, n plus 1 into d you will see, and then the your propagation delay will be n times p. So np plus n plus 1 d. So that should be there. Np, this is the propagation delay, and n plus 1 d is your this thing, that your processing delay. So now your control message has reached the here. So now sorry, your control, so this link fail message has reached here. So now you have to send the setup message through this backup route. Now you are using path protection, so your backup route, so you have to use this route. So now how many hops are there? So that number of hops is m. So you have to compute the number of hops along the backup route from the connection source node to the connection destination node using the backup route. Okay, so now you can check. So that m definition, what you told, the number of hops in the backup route from the source node to the destination node. So we have not mentioned it is a failed link source node or connection source node, or failed link destination node or connection destination, that we have not mentioned. So in case of path protection, you have to send these connection request message. So that message to the, in case of path protection, from the connection source node to the connection destination node. So in case of path protection, this should be your source and destination node of the connection. Okay, so in case of path protection, so it's a source and destination node of the connection. So your message has reached, this link failed message has reached here. Now you have to send the setup message. So you have to find the number of hops from the connection source node to the connection destination node through the backup route, not through the active path, because it is already failed. So now the number of hops is m. Okay. So now we have to consider, so how many times, so now you see that this message, this setup message will go to the connection destination node, and again there will be acknowledgement will come through the same path. Okay, so now what will be the delay in this direction traffic flow, that message flow? So that is the m plus 1 into d, that is the processing delay, plus mp is the propagation delay. M plus 1 into d is the this is the processing delay for one side, and that is the reverse transmission. So that's why there is a 2. And here also m into p is the one direction propagation delay in the backup route, along the backup route. For the reverse flow, there is a, you have to multiply, you have to add another mp. Okay, so this is your protection switching time. So do you have any query? Hello? Hello?
No, sir.
Okay. So this is the dedicated path protection. Now come to shared path protection. So this is not very much visible, but the idea you already know. This is your link source node. Okay, this is a link source. Basically failed link source node. This is the failed link destination node. This is your connection source. This is a connection destination. So now there is a cut here. So it was your active path. Now there is a cut here. Now you will be using path protection, but it's of shared type. So first the failure will be detected by these end nodes of this failed link. So these two nodes will come to know. So then it will send the link fail message. So basically it will send the link fail message. Link fail message. So link fail message will be sent. It's the same strategy. So it will be detected, and then this link source node will send the link fail message to the connection source node. And this link destination node will send the link fail message to the connection destination node. Okay, so both this direction and this direction, there will be message flow. So now it will come over here. So now the connection source node, this is the connection source node. Connection source node will send the setup message. So this message is setup message to the connection destination node. But you have to understand it's a shared protection. So since it is a shared protection, these backup route, or maybe part of it, not the entire route, maybe part of it, maybe this segment, starting from one intermediate node to another intermediate. Let's say there are in the backup route, there are multiple, it passes through so many intermediate nodes. Okay, so let's say this section was a shared for other existing active paths. So here this optical cross connect needs to be reconfigured, because otherwise you cannot send your traffic in this path. From this input fiber to this output fiber, you cannot send. You have to reconfigure it. So here you have to consider the reconfiguration time. Reconfigure OXC. That is important. You have to reconfigure because it's a shared protection. You don't know that which active path, which two nodes will be using this portion. Maybe one complete portion or some portion of these paths. So your optical cross connect need to be reconfigured. So you have to send the setup message and also that are reconfigured. That is there. Okay. So connection source sends setup message along backup route. Along backup route, it will send a connection destination and to connection destination node. And to the connection destination and cross connect along backup path are deconfigured. So cross connect needs to be deconfigured. So see the paper, it is there, it will be visible. So the cross connect need to be deconfigured. So after this thing that your setup message will reach here. So now your paths are ready and cross connect have reconfigured. So that's why you can send the setup message, because otherwise you cannot set up message to the connection destination node. So after this setup message reaches the connection destination, then you have to send the confirm message. So confirm message will be sent from the connection destination to the connection source node. Okay, and after that, so when the connection source node gets the message, it understands the path is ready. So now you can send the data transmission to the backup. So this is you see that this is actually a circuit switch connection. First you have to make the circuit or make the connection, then only your traffic flow you can start. So now compute the PST. So first the failure is to be detected. So it comes to the both ends of the failed link. So now it's a path protection. So from the failed link end, it should go to the source node and they go to the in the other direction. It is go to the destination node of the connection, because it's a path protection. So how many hops are there? There are total n number of hops. Okay, so total n number of hops. So that's why a plus n into p. So n into p is the propagation delay and n plus 1 into d is the processing delay, including the queuing delay. So now your control message has reached to the source node of the connection. So now you have to consider in the backup route you are sending your traffic. You are sending your setup message. So how many hops are there? So the number of hops is m. and so you are sending you have to send your control message along the backup route from the connection source node to the connection destination node. So how many hops are there? M hops. What is the propagation delay? M into P. And again, you are sending the confirmation message, setup message, then the confirm message. So M into P plus M into P. So 2MP. And how much is the processing delay? M plus 1 into D for one traffic flow in one direction. So then another the same amount you have to add. So it will be 2MP plus 2M plus 1D. And M plus 1C, you are so when you are sending this setup message, you are sending the setup message. So you will send over here, and then you have to configure the switch. Okay, so this delay has to be added. So what is the configuration delay? Configuration delay we have considered to be C. So how many times you have to configure? You have to configure. So your total number of hops are your M. So M plus 1 times. Okay, but it will be included only one time because for the reverse flow already switch is there. So M plus 1 into C you have to add. M plus 1 into C. Okay. So if you compare these two costs, the protection switching time for the shared path protection and the dedicated path protection, you'll see that difference is here. Okay. So you see that when it is a shared path protection, your protection switching time is more. Okay. So that's why people prefer to use the your dedicated path protection, because dedicated path protection, your switching time is not involved. Because you know that this is my dedicated path. So whenever there is a fail, immediately you just set up the path. So setting up path it takes less time. Okay, do you have any query? Hello?
No, sir.
Okay, okay. This is simple then. So this is there, and then in the okay, in the next class, so you can see this thing also. This is the okay. Next class I will see. Just you have to discuss the. Just see that what is there in the we are discussing here shared link protection. So this is true for shared link protection as well as dedicated link protection. So this is your connection source, this is your connection destination, this is the link source, this is the link destination. So initially this was your active path, now there is a cut over here. So then since it is a link protection, so corresponding to every link there is a backup path. So let's say this is my path. Okay, so link source sends setup message. So first it will be detected. Anyway, if there is a cut, these two end nodes will be detected. So that F delay will be there. Now we have to send the link fail message. So there is no need to send the link fail message because it will be detected. Then the end nodes of the failed link will take the action. So there is no need to send the link fail message to the source node and the destination node of the connection, because the local node will take action. So you save over here. Okay, so that N into P, that propagation delay, you have no need to experience it. So then you'll send here a setup message. So this message is the you are sending here setup message. You send the setup message. So since it's a if in this case they have shown shared link protection. So since it is a shared link protection, then you have to involve that reconfiguration cost also. So that has to be there. So after the link, the setup message goes to over here, then it will send the acknowledgement message. So this message is the sorry, this is the confirm message, not the acknowledgement message. We call it confirm message. So this is confirm message. So this will go over here. Okay, so now your path is ready. So link destination nodes sends confirm message along backup route to link source cross connects along backup route. Puts to cross connects, comma and then cross connects along backup route are configured. So that have to consider. Now your path is ready, so you can send your traffic. So instead of using this path, you will be using this path. This is your path, you see. Okay, so this connection source node do not do anything. It is it doesn't do anything to recover the backup path. So only the local nodes of the failed link will take action. But issue is that you have to provision the for every link you have to find a alternate set of paths. But sometimes for some network it may not be possible. Okay. So let's say there is one network site something like this. How we can maybe let's say this is your network. Okay, so for this fiber, if there is a fiber cut over here, then there is no you cannot take go for link protection, because there is no alternate set of paths, alternate set of fibers through which you can set up the backup path. Okay, here it is not possible, but let's say there is a fiber over here. So now if there is this one fails, then you can take this path. So it depends on whether you have such physical topology or such resource. Okay, because here since it's a link protection, so you are for this section you are using the same wavelength. Okay, so what earlier you are using. So earlier your path was like this. Now you are using this path. So over this section you have to use same wavelength. Here if you are using lambda 0, then here you have to use lambda 0, because only during in this portion you are using alternate path, but you have to maintain the wavelength. So this is a constant. So link protection is if it is a link protection, it is difficult to attain it, because sometimes resource may not be available. Maybe sometimes your fiber is not available, or maybe sometimes your wavelength is not available. But the advantage is that your propagation delay, because this local node takes action. Okay, this local node takes action. So your these n into p, that propagation delay, and then the processing delay n+1 into d, that you will not see here. So if we compute the protection switching time, so first there will be f detection n+1 into c, because here you have to configure it. So configuration will be along the backup route. So there are m number of hops. So m+1 into c. Then your you have to send your setup message, and he will get the control message. So your propagation delay will be 2md, and the processing delay will be 2m+1 into 2mp is the processing delay, propagation delay, and the processing delay will be 2 into m+1 into your d. This is the processing delay for one node, and this is the propagation delay. Okay, you see this is there. Okay, so this is there, but in case of, if I say this, I have not included it. If I am have to find out PST for dedicated link protection, so same thing will be there. Only thing is that your this portion will not be there. That your switch configuration is not needed. Okay, that I have to show in the next slide. I have to put it here. So that will be there. So then what we'll be studying, that after this dedicated link protection, so then we'll be studying this thing, that your restoration. So this we have an idea about the protection switching time. So now we'll find out the restoration time for link restoration and path restoration. Okay. Acha, do you have any doubt?
No, sir.
Okay, so then Thursday, coming Thursday, as I mentioned earlier, that there will be one class test. Okay, so Thursday, matlab 8 a.m. in the morning. Okay. And have you submitted that your that assignment too? I have not checked. Hello.
Yes, sir. We have
Yes, sir.
submitted.
Okay, good. And then I will give you another one that that HLDA codes, HLDA plus LP. Basically, it's a MLP formula. It was earlier it was MLP formulation. Now we have to solve HLDA plus LP. So that assignment I'll give. Okay. Okay. Meet you tomorrow then.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.